Sean, what you got?
Greetings, viewers. Edgewenka, we have a very interesting story coming out from the Premier's office as it relates to Crown lands on Virgin Gorda. 52 persons will soon have titles to Crown land on Virgin Gorda, according to the Finance Minister. He told us at a press briefing earlier today that the committee set up to select the recipients or the persons who will have access to these lands. They have so far selected 52 persons. We tried to ask him how many people they'll be selecting, in short order and so forth, but we got no specific answer as it relates to that. But one of the things that we found interesting, at least I did, is the announcement, the timing that this announcement is being made. So I asked the Premier whether or not the decision to disclose the amount of people getting lands had anything to do with the recent announcement by the Virgin Islands Party that they have selected a candidate, a very popular person, Mr. Elton Sprov, also called All Out, to be their candidate in the next elections. Let's see how he responded to that question. Mayor, could you comment on whether the decision to distribute lands on Virgin Gorda was in any way influenced by the recent announcement from the Virgin Islands Party that the well-known Elton Sprov has been selected as the 9th district candidate?
Not at all. As you heard when I made the statement, we put together a committee in 2013 to decide and recommend persons who should receive land in the North Sound Division. And the process continued. They had several meetings, they made the recommendations. We took the recommendations to the cabinet, which would have happened several weeks ago. And then now we're moving forward with giving those persons who have been selected the lands.
You said that 52 people have been selected so far. At the end, well, I know it's being done on a phased basis. How many people do you see getting lands under this land distribution program?
The committee made a recommendation, and we are following the committee's recommendations. And as I said, it has to be done on a phased approach because it depends on the availability of land and also the road network, and so that would serve the land.
And what of the lands in the North Sound area, particularly those that were earmarked for commercial development?
Yes, those are the ones that are being distributed now.
So there we have it. We know the location. The Premier did mention three specific locations, but for the most part, a lot of lands in the North Sound area where a number of people had some concerns about the involvement of the North Sound developer Johnson coming in and having any control or a part to play in the commercial activities on that side in Gun Creek. I suspect that government decided, let's empower the people.
I got confused by a question there, Sean. He said that 52 persons will be allocated land?
Yes,
or the
52 people will receive land.
Okay,
so they have
so
already selected 52 people.
Okay, so what was the question about how many people would receive land?
Because in 2013, the Deputy Premier, Dr. Kedrick Pickering, said that 600 people on Virgin Gorda made submissions for lands.
Oh, okay.
And what that means is that the 52 is really a drop in the bucket based on the number of people who have so far, well, as of 2013, sought to get access to lands.
Okay. And I expect that everyone would look at it as anything that happens now, between now and election, or perhaps even as far back as January, will look at these developments as electioneering, or what you call an election gimmick. I think it's certainly understandable. I know that a lot of these things take time, especially when you have a situation where you have so many applicants and so few resources, and you have to select how you're going to do that. That's always a dangerous thing. But I think people in the North Sound have been waiting a long time for this to happen, and certainly it's better sooner than later.
Exactly. I mean, and when you look at the number of people who have expressed an interest in owning lands on Virgin Gorda, it's pretty, it's a very sizable amount. Of course, the population over there, according to the 2010 census, is some just over 3,000 people. Well, just under 4,000 people, 3,930 people residing on Virgin Gorda as of 2010. So basically, you may easily realize that there will be a number of young people as well seeking to own lands and own property, own their homes for the first time.
Well, I hope it's done in a way where the persons that applied, whose application was in the longest, are able to get some satisfaction. Because, I mean, I've been hearing stories about persons applying for land for years and trying to follow up and trying to find out what's happening with the land distribution, and to no avail. This is certainly not a new thing. It's something that's been going on for many years, and people in Virgin Gorda have been trying to get land for whatever reason, whether it's to build a home or to invest and develop something. Virgin Gorda is the major tourist revenue earner in the Virgin Islands. That's where the milk of tourism comes through. And certainly having land in Virgin Gorda presents an opportunity for persons to cash in on the tourism market. So I say it's a great thing.
As it relates to the selection process, maybe one day we can hear from the chairperson of the committee, Mr. Steve Leonard. He's heading that particular committee, and you get the sense that based on the responses from the Premier, that committee has some autonomy in how they go about selecting the persons on their very long list.
Well, that would be a sensible thing for him to do, to give the committee autonomy. That way, yes, his hands are clean.
Another land-related issue is this has been quite controversial over the last couple of days or weeks or so. Is the acquisition of the lands in the East End area, just across from the East End police station, to locate that sewage pump station. You may have seen some of the concerns expressed on JTV News as well by one of the owners. He told JTV News that he thought, or at least the family is of the view, that government should choose a different portion of land, and we know that government had gone ahead and acquired, and that particular legislation was already passed and approved in the House of Assembly, tabled and approved in the House of Assembly. But interestingly, again responding to a question today, the Premier said that they are now re-evaluating the amount of land required, and also as it relates to how they go about setting up this particular pump station. As he says, the ministry responsible, the Ministry of Natural Resources and also the Ministry of Communications and Works, they are looking into it to re-evaluate this process. Let's hear how he explains. Premier, if I may, what is the status of the negotiations on the lands in East End for the construction of the sewage pump station?
The Department of the Ministry of Communication Works, which is responsible for the development of the sewage program, they are re-evaluating the type of facility that they wish to put in that area. And so, and they've of course re-evaluated the land requirements, and so we're waiting for that to happen.
So, in our previous newscast, Michael Marlowe Shinnery, he took us to a particular location just behind the bakery across from Fine Foods, and told us this area is all available to the government. So we're not sure where they will locate this now.
Well, I'm glad to hear that they're taking a second look. It's difficult to forcibly acquire land from persons, especially if it's land that's inherited, and especially if it's in an area where you hope to have potential development and make some money from that area. The location is a good location. So that's a difficult thing for any person to swallow. And from a cultural perspective, Virgin Islanders have a very, very high value for their land. And so I'm glad to see that the Premier, the Minister of Natural Resources and Labor taking a second look at that acquisition. Someone was telling me that there is a gut that runs through the land, and it'll be possible to build the pumping station over the gut, so the gut will run under. That land is not going to be used. The gut will run under, and you could build a platform and put the pumping station on top of it.
I know what we were told when we visited the area was that the gut that runs from the police station all the way down and sort of dissects the existing businesses there and much of that greater portion of land where all those heavy equipment are being stored and so forth, is that they can build a bridge to access the lands further down and allow the owners to still keep that very prime location up close to the road, so as to avoid government taking all of that land. And also one of the concerns has been what will happen to the excess land when should government acquire all of it, because they are of the view that they won't need that much land for the pump station.
But I think it's wise for all concerned for the government to take a second look, and I know based on what I've heard about the engineering and the way the plant has to be located in order for it to function, in terms of gravity and all those things, which I know nothing about.
Right.
That some areas are more suitable than others. But
it would be good to hear from the engineers as well as to what they, how they're rationalizing and making the selection.
I think that's what you ought to do, Sean.
But this has always been a challenge. Many people hide behind fences and walls.
The engineers don't want to talk. So. Yeah. But the engineers could really shed some light on the subject, and I think that is a good thing that it's being a second look is being taken, so that a compromise could be reached. A person could keep their land. We could get the station where it needs to go in order to function efficiently and effectively, and all concerns would be quite pleased. I think that's the best possible outcome.
Well, the area representative, Honorable Marlon Penn, didn't vote in favor of the legislation. He didn't vote at all when the government decided to move in that particular direction initially. So I suspect he might be feeling a bit more at ease now that his administration, the administration that he's a part of, has decided to rethink the position.
Yeah, that was quite an interesting development, him abstaining in the House of Assembly, and the representative for the 7th District and the Minister of Natural Resources and Labor was absent.
They're pretty much neighbors.
Yeah, so that was an interesting development to me. But you never could tell what's behind the scenes, and I've learned in the BVI that things that are made are not made out of things that do appear.
it's election year, so a lot of things are happening out there, and some folks are walking on eggshells. By the way, you notice the last time we had a chat, we talked about someone looking to turn things around in the 2nd District, and finally, well, maybe not all clear yet, but he has certainly signaled his intentions to run in the 2nd District. That's Mitch Turnbull.
Yes.
Hopefully they all would stop hiding and just come forward and maybe appear on Spotlight and on GTV News and talk to us some more.
Well, I hope so, because I have a lot of questions to ask. It's not enough to say you're running. I'd like to see you have a plan for the district, that you're aware of the district needs of the people, and you have a plan to develop those districts to meet the needs, and to bring some sort of growth, whether it's social or economic or both, to the district. So I like to hear about plans, and I don't like too much fluff, and we're going to have a development, and what does that mean? I like to hear some specific goals. I want to hear about a good vision and a method as to how you're going to get the job done. So that's what I'm looking forward to. So,
and especially for these young politicians, it's important that they come and disclose what they're thinking and what their philosophies are, and how they see the territory moving forward as they attempt to take the reins of leadership in the territory.
Yes, I think we have to do away with politics as usual, and focus on the issues instead of you have what is bashing of each other, and because at the end of the day, we live in a small community. How am I going to be fighting with Mitch, and then I have to pass him, and I know his dad, and I might want to go to the church, or we may meet along the road, and what I'm going to do, pass him straight and say hello. It's weird to me, how we could treat each other in a hateful way, when we have to pass each other every day or meet in some place or the other. So I think we could add some civility to the campaigning. We could be civil towards each other, talk about the issues. I think it's fair to talk about the way things were. It's fair to talk about the way things are. It's fair to talk about the future, and bring everything forward, and let the public let God through the public decide, and everybody happy with that, because in the end, that's really what happens.
Well, what is the future of the People's Empowerment Party? We don't know yet. There are some suspicions that they may have to rethink their position for this upcoming elections.
I've been a part of
the PP.
I've been a part of party building, party founding, I should say, and it is no easy feat.
Never an easy process.
Yeah, it's no easy feat. You have to stick with it. There's a lot of battling. You have egos. You have different ideologies, different philosophies, different methodologies. There's a lot of things to bring together, to coordinate, to compromise on,
and even in the bigger countries in the Caribbean where the populations are larger, it's usually difficult to field 3 or more parties.
Yeah.
Usually have people joining and have, you see parties merging, from one election to the other.
So it takes a lot of hard work.
Yes.
It's a lot of work. You have to be committed
Resources.
to it. You have to be and resources.
Yeah.
You have to be committed to it, and you have to do it. So PEP, I think they have a good idea. They want. I think everyone wants to see the best for the country. I don't believe that any politician or any party, that wants to serve in government wants to see Ham come to the BVI. Because you have to live here. So if you're sensible, because if Ham come to the BVI, it's definitely gonna come to you.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying? You're not going to escape. You're in the same boat. You're not going to escape the hole in the boat. So, I think everybody comes with good intentions, but sometimes, your views is not going to work, and sometimes others may work. So you have to suss out the views and the methodologies and the visions and make an informed decision.
At the end of the day, the people decide, the electorate decides who will form government.
And let it ride. And the next day after election, everybody get to put their nose to the grindstone and let's build the country. That's I don't have any political enemies that I make of my own. If people might want to be my enemy because of my ideology or my philosophy, which sometimes could be strange. But I think I try to stay on good terms with everyone, regardless of what side of the political fence they are, or regardless of what ideology they have, or what methodology or whatever, what their views are. It doesn't
Nevertheless,
make
interesting
sense.
times are ahead.
Yes,
we have the opening of the Cruise Pier project next week, and a number of other projects and activities rolling out, and the government seems to have a pretty busy couple of months leading up to festival. Maybe we'll have the elections before festival. We don't know. Maybe after, but at least the Premier said elections are certainly before February next year.
It's gonna be a lot of excitement. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I like to watch it. I like to see what happens. I like to hear all the back and forth. And, it's gonna be interesting. Sean, good
nice
chat.
Talking to you.
Yeah, good chat. We're looking forward to hearing who's gonna get the lands and the resolution in the 8th district, but the acquisition and all the other things that's going on. Of course, we're looking forward to the big day, as the Minister of Communication Work has labeled it. The big day next week, the open up of the cruise pier. We're gonna have a big time party. I think we expect over 1,000 people to be out there. I don't know how that's going to work. 1,000 of local people,
And Norwegian is coming
then
in
a
as
ship,
well.
then a ship
Yes.
full of people. It could be quite a mix. So that's going to be interesting in itself. The crowd in itself is going to be interesting.